guys, my name's Craig from Magic TV. It's 9 o'clock. It's time for another video, and we're back with the magic stuff. And today, on this week's magic stuff, I'm back with the 3 best tricks. Now, what is the 3 best tricks series? If you've never seen it before, the whole idea is I perform for you 3 tricks that have something in common. 3 tricks that use an Elmsley clamp, 3 tricks using a coin palm, whatever it may be. I perform 3 tricks to you that I think that you might not have seen before, and I tell you about why they're so awesome so you can go and find them yourself, and I'll give you the source as to where you can find them. Now, this one is a little bit different. This 3 best tricks series is a little bit different. In fact, I'm hoping that you guys can help me. And I'll explain why. I know a lot of magic. You must have noticed I perform a lot of tricks on this channel. I know a lot of magic. I've got a pretty good repertoire, and I have a really good recollection of tricks. I can learn something and not perform it for years and then perform it as if it's brand new. So or perform it really well. However, sometimes my memory fades me, especially as I get older. The 3 tricks that I'm going to perform for you today are all self-working card magic. They're all really good self-working card tricks. And for the life of me, I can't remember where I learnt them from. Now, I've been doing them for quite a while. Some of them I learnt like 3 years ago. Some of them I learnt 5 years ago. These 3 tricks I've been doing for quite a while. And at least 2 of them I got shown while I was drunk at Blackpool by somebody. And they were like, oh, there's this trick from this place and it's really good. Can I show you? I was like, oh, can you teach it me? That looks amazing. So, but I can't remember where they're from. And it's really annoying because I like to be able to credit on this channel where I've learned a trick and where you can get it from, because a lot of people watch the magic and then they go and learn it themselves, or they'll go and find the place that you can get it from. I don't know where to send you for these, but I do know there's a lot of really knowledgeable people that subscribe to this channel. So I'm hoping that you guys can help me, and that would be amazing if you could. I want to know where you can learn these, and then I'll add it to the description down below. Where can you learn how to do these tricks? They're all self-working card tricks. They're all amazing. They're all really good. I just want to be able to send people to the place where they can learn them from. That's it. So, without further ado, now you understand the premise, let's look at the first self-working card trick that I haven't got a clue where I learnt it from. So trick number 1 is, I haven't got a name for this trick either. Obviously, we're going to call it the ace location. Now, this is a really cool premise. And the whole premise of this trick is that you're going to find the 4 aces. Okay, so from a shuffle deck of cards in use, and it is a regular shuffle deck of cards, you're going to try and find, you're going to have the 4 aces lost in the deck, and then you're going to try and find the 4 aces. That's the premise of the trick. Now, there's a lot to really like about this routine, including the presentation. I remember learning this from somebody, and I can't remember where, and the presentation was quite dry. And I love performing this, and one of the reasons I love performing it is because the presentation I came up with for this is just so out there. I talk about being a playing card whisperer. So if you've heard of a horse whisperer, you've heard of a dog whisperer, I'm a playing card whisperer. It sounds ridiculous, but let me show you what this looks like. And then I proceed to go into the routine. So I'm going to perform it for you first of all, let you see it. I'm going to perform it on mat. When I've performed it, we'll talk about we'll talk about why this trick is so good.
Okay.
Let's do this. I'm going to pack your cards. Now, before I start, do you want to give them a shuffle?
Sure.
Mix them up. You happy?
You've been practicing?
I have. Thanks for noticing.
Yeah, you're doing well. It's not as messy as it normally is.
No.
Not as bad as Luke.
So, I'm going to go through and I'm going to take out the 4 aces from this deck of cards. Okay? We're going to use the 4 aces.
Okay.
So, we've got the ace of hearts. And we've got the ace of clubs. And we've got the ace of diamonds. And finally, somewhere we have the ace of spades, the 4 aces. And we also need a helper card.
Okay.
That's going to, a helper card helps me do the trick. And let's face it, I need all the help I can get. So I'm going to riffle down the deck, just say stop.
Stop.
That's cool. This is the card. And it doesn't matter whether we see it, the 2 of clubs. Are you cool with that?
Sure.
And before I start, do you want to give them one more shuffle? Or are you okay?
Are we still using these? Are we?
Yeah, we're going to use the rest of the cards.
Okay.
The only purpose of this card is if things go wrong, that's what that's there for. But hopefully I won't need it.
Okay.
But if there's one thing I've learned about magic is things always go wrong. But I want to make sure, because a lot of the time when I do magic, people turn around to me and they say, Craig, I wouldn't want to play cards with you.
I wouldn't want to play cards with you.
Mainly
I'm
because
generally quite good at poker, but I wouldn't want to play with you.
and people ask me if I can kind of locate the aces and find the aces and stuff like that. Well, I can, but it's not because I'm like skilled at sleight of hand or anything like that. It's because I am what's known in the trade as a playing card whisperer. You've heard of a horse whisperer. You've heard of a dog whisperer. I am a now you can tell you don't believe me. I'm a playing card whisperer. I can actually, I can control playing cards just by speaking to them, which sounds ridiculous, but I'm going to prove it to you. And you're going to do all of this yourself. We're first of all going to lose the aces into the pack. So we make 5 piles of cards. It doesn't matter how many cards are in each pile. I want them about equal.
Okay.
Because it's really important that you understand that these cards are lost in the pack. So you can do this yourself. Turn the ace over there, put it on there. I'm going to bury that in. So cut some cards off that packet and put it onto that packet. So that ace gets buried. Very good. Now turn that ace over, put that one there, and do the same thing there. Now put the 2 there, but keep it face up. And bury it. And turn the ace over there, bury it. Perfect. Put the ace there. I tell you what, take this packet and put it on top of that packet. That buries that ace. And what we'll do is we'll just square everything up. Now, is that well mixed? The cards are I mean, you decided where to put them. You cut piles. You did everything. Is that fair? The only card that we know of is obviously the 2 of clubs. That's the helper card. That's going to be there in case there's any problems. But we don't know where the other aces are, do we?
No.
No. So hopefully we won't need this card. But here's how it's going to work. I don't know where the aces are, but I am a playing card whisperer. So being a playing card whisperer, I can get the aces into the perfect position just by whispering their name. Let me show you. Ace of clubs. That's my whisper, by the way. That's the.
I didn't realise it was a literal whisper.
It's a literal whisper. Ace of clubs. Now the other thing is that the aces, because I'm a playing card whisperer, I actually know the personality, because cards have personalities in my head.
Of course they do.
And the aces, they're kind of egotistical maniacs, because they know that they are, out of all of the cards in the deck, they're the most popular. Everybody wants them in their hand. They're the ones that all the magicians do the tricks with. The aces, they have a superiority complex. So because of that, no, seriously, because of that, if I whisper ace of clubs, that's my playing card whisper, that will immediately tell the ace of clubs to go into the position I need it to go into if I just call its name. So ace of clubs, let's spell ace of clubs. Ace of clubs would be A-C-E, that's ace, of course its middle name is O-F, and then clubs, C-L-U-B-S. And obviously we'll get the ace of clubs. Now think about this for a minute. You did the cutting, right? You did the cutting. You did everything. I did nothing. I haven't even touched the cards. Let's do it again. Watch. Ace of hearts. That's all you have to do. Watch. A-C-E, that's ace. O-F, that's of. H-E-A-R-T-S. I mean, it looks simple, but it takes years of practice, really. Now, later on, when you're thinking about this, you're going to be like, hang on a minute. I cut these cards into the pack myself. I did everything, right? Let's go for the ace of spades. Ace of spades. That's all it is. Watch. A-C-E, that's ace. O-F, that's of. S-P-A-D-E-S. Here we go.
No! That's insane!
It's not a difficult thing to do, Matt. It's not sleight of hand. The only one's left the ace of diamonds. Just whisper ace of diamonds.
Ace of diamonds.
You have to get close to the back.
It's
And you have
such a tit.
No, you have to really believe.
Ace of diamonds.
Honestly, goosebumps. Let's have a look. A-C-E, that's ace. O-F, that's of. D-I-A-M-O-N-D-S. And you got the, you messed up. I think it thought you said 3 instead of ace. You got 3 of diamonds. Don't worry about it. It's fine. It's fine. You've never done this before. You're a beginner. That's what this card's for. That's what the emergency card's for. I tell you, instead of saying ace of diamonds, to find the ace of diamonds, just whisper 2 of clubs, because this card's the helper. Just whisper 2 of clubs with sincerity.
2 of clubs.
No, you were smiling when you did it. You know, you have to be serious. Let's try again.
2 of
very good.
Thank you.
Can't believe it, is it? Let's have a look. T-W-O, that's 2. O-F, that's of. C-L-U-B-S. Never lets me down. Ever.
Even your face is like...
There you go. So that's the first routine. So it's really, really cool. Now, I'll tell you, the only downside of this trick is that it does require a bit of table space. Now, you don't need a close-up pad or anything like that. It can be done on any surface, but you do require a table space because there's obviously packets that are being put out. That's really the only negative. Now, it's what I would categorize as pipe and slippers magic. Well, now what that means is it's not the sort of trick that you're going to do if you're in a high-impact gig where you're trying to grab people's attention. This is not the trick that you would do. But what you would do with this trick is if you're sitting down in a social situation or after a gig's finished and you're at the bar and you've got people's attention, this is the type of time that you do this trick. Or it's a nice follow-up after you've done some flashy Ace productions. So if you've done an Ace production or a couple of gambling-themed routines, this is a really nice routine once you've established your credibility and have established how good you are. But table is required. Now, in terms of the actual trick itself, I'm fairly sure that when I was taught it, I might be wrong, I was drunk. But I seem to remember that when I was taught it, it used a series of crimps and it was a set-up deck. So the deck was set up and there was a series of crimps. And I remember saying to the guy that I was with at the time, I wouldn't use the crimps. I'd actually do it this way because that way it could be a shuffled deck of cards in use. And that's the way I do it. So I think that's my addition to the routine, is that the way that I do it is from a shuffled deck of cards in use, anytime, anywhere. And that's what I really like about it. You know, you take the cards, you have the deck shuffled, you take the aces out, you get your card picked, your helper card. And then you have this really nice sequence where they're cutting the aces into the deck themselves. And they really are doing everything. So they're cutting the aces into the deck. They feel like the aces are being lost. But at that point, as soon as you've lost the aces into the deck, with no manipulation at all, with no adjustments of the deck or nothing, you can immediately then spell out the first three aces, sorry. The final ace obviously goes a little bit wrong, which is on purpose, and then you've got that nice kicker ending of using the two and getting them to do it and having them find the final ace. And it's really nice. Now, I don't like spelling tricks that much when there's overly large amounts of spelling. This is a routine where I think that the spelling works out okay, because it's not like you're going, right, okay, it's not an excessive amount of spelling. And once you've understood the premise, once the spectator has understood the premise of, hey, I'm a card whisperer, I'm going to say the name, let me spell out the card's name, and they kind of go, what? Now they're anticipating each ace. So now the spelling becomes almost like edge of your seat type stuff, because they want to know if you're right again, and they want to know if you're right again. And I love the moment where they do the final ace themselves, they get it wrong, and you get the helper and you fix it all up magically. Really, really good. Lots to like. Self-working, no skill required. Easy to do. Instant reset because it's a regular shuffle deck of cards in use. It's an anytime, anywhere miracle. And it's got a really nice premise. And if you've done a cutting the aces, and then maybe you've done a flashy ace production, this fits really nicely as a transition routine after that, because you can slow things down and it really feels fair, like the cards really are being lost in the deck. It doesn't look like you're able to control anything, let alone that you're able to control every single aspect of every single ace and exactly where it is. So yeah, I mean, there's a lot to love about this routine. You don't normally see self-working tricks that are kind of ace locations in this sort of way. It's normally mentalism and stuff like that. But this is really good. So this is the first self-working trick that I don't have a clue where you can learn it from. I'm hoping you guys can help me. But let's now go on to trick number 2. So the second trick that is self-working, and I've got no idea where you can learn it from. The second trick is a really cool routine, actually, and it's it's basically an impossible prediction. That's what I kind of refer to it as, an impossible prediction. Now, I thought that this was J.C. Wagner, but I'm wrong. And then I remember seeing something similar to this on Easy to Master Card Miracles by Michael Lamar. But then I went back and looked at that and I couldn't find it, so I don't think it is. Help is what I'm trying to say. This is a really nice test conditions prediction. And what I mean by test conditions is you openly tell the spectator that you're going to take a card out and you're going to put it down as a prediction, and you're not at any point going to change that prediction. They're going to make all the decisions, and at the end, you're going to show that you predicted the card that they were going to settle on. It's a very nice premise. It's a really nice trick. And again, it's a shuffled deck of cards in use, which is great with a self-working trick because most self-working tricks require a big stack. This does not require a stack. So let's have a look at this. This is a really cool routine. You're going to see a performance of me doing it on Matt. Anyway, I'm here with Matt. I might have changed it, I don't know. I was so drunk I can't remember. But it's a trick with deck of cards, Matt, and I'm going to make a prediction.
Okay.
And I have a feeling that that prediction will come true. Now, before I do anything, give the cards a mix up, give them a shuffle, make sure they're all mixed up. And I'm not going to change the order of the cards. I'm going to take a prediction out, but I'm not going to change the order. You happy? Cool stuff.
Sure.
So I'm going to take a, I don't want you to see what the prediction is, but I'm going to take a prediction out of this deck. I'm going to go for this one right there. That's my prediction. That goes right there. Now, I'm going to have you pick a card, and that prediction is going to match it, but we're going to do it in the most random way ever. We're going to eliminate cards until we're left with 2 cards. One of those cards will represent a suit, one of those cards will represent a value. We'll put them together, and those 2 cards will match my prediction. I want you to remember, before I did anything, that prediction went down. Pick up the cards that you shuffled.
Yeah.
Start dealing them face down into a face down pile on the table. That's it. Now, by the way, yeah, deal, but you can deal from the bottom, you can deal from the middle, you can deal from the center, you can drop 2 or 3 cards down at the same time.
Oh, I see.
Yeah,
so
you can go from anywhere, yeah. And from the middle, you can put a couple of cards. Whenever you're happy to stop, and we're going to eliminate all the cards left in your hand. Happy? No, you're still going. We do want to eliminate some of us. We're here forever, you realise that. God, you're such an arse. Okay, put those on top of the box. They're gone. I'm going to square these up. Okay, now take the cards. We're going to start the process of eliminating some more. We've already eliminated probably about half the deck.
Yeah.
Deal them into 2 piles like you're dealing a 2-handed game of poker. Perfect. You do so well.
Thanks very much.
You should be a croupier.
I don't look good enough in a waistcoat.
So, we're going to eliminate some more cards now. There's 2 piles. Which pile would you like to use? Whichever pile you want to use, pick them up. Okay. Now, you're going to start, when I say, you're going to start dealing cards down onto the table, and you're going to face down, you're going to stop. Whatever's left in your hand, you're going to eliminate. So you can deal cards onto the table. Whenever you want to stop, and whatever's left in your hand, you're going to eliminate. You want to? Now, we need to know how many cards are there. So pick them up and just deal them onto the table and count them.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
7. So we're going to eliminate all but 7 cards here. So pick up this packet, deal 7 cards onto the table. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Put those there. Is that fair? Let's think about this. You shuffled the deck.
Yeah.
You then dealt cards onto the table. You eliminated half the deck. Yeah. You then dealt them into 2 piles. You picked up a pile. You decided how many cards to eliminate. You've done everything, right? Mm-hmm. We're left with these cards. Nobody can know what these cards are. Nobody can know the order of these cards or which cards are which. We're going to eliminate all but 2. And we're going to do it really randomly. You're going to take the top and the bottom card and put it over there on the discard pile. You're going to keep going until you've got 2 cards left. So take the top and the bottom, put them over there. That's great. Do it again. Do it again. Do it again. Do it again. Stop. So yeah, put those there. So you're left with 2 cards. Is that fair? Yeah.
Yeah.
No one could have known what these 2 cards are, could they? Like, and this prediction was put down.
Are you telling me that those 2 cards are going to tell me what that card?
Yeah.
There's no way.
One of these cards is going to represent the value. One of the cards is going to represent the suit. You've got one more decision to make. The first card I turn over, do you want it to represent the value or the suit?
value.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
You're positive?
Yeah.
Yeah? So this one here is going to be the value. So that's the ace.
Ace.
And this one here will be the suit.
Ace of spades.
Now, you could have ended up with a completely different scenario if you'd shuffled the cards slightly differently, or if you'd eliminated different cards, or if you'd have decided to eliminate less cards or anything. You could have ended up with a different scenario. And I put that card down there from the very beginning before you did anything. And at no point have I touched the cards. Ace of spades. Have a look.
I don't want to.
I think you should.
That's not possible, man.
I'd do it for you, but my hands are full.
No!
Yes.
I don't like that one.
Yeah, well, it was
How's that a thing?
I don't know. It's never worked before. It was a fluke. So,
It's a very good fluke.
yeah, I'm just glad it worked. Anyway, so now we've killed that. Thanks very much for watching, guys.
What the?
I know. Let it out. So there you go. There you go. That's the routine. Doesn't that play really well? Again, it's one of those routines that's kind of pipe and slippery in that it's not the routine that you're going to do when you're trying to hit them hard and hit them fast. But it's the routine you do when you've got their attention and they're 100% focused on what you're doing. But what I like about this is it feels so free. You establish the premise in the beginning. I'm going to put a prediction over here from the deck that you shuffled. And what's going to happen is you're gonna eliminate cards until you're left with 2 cards. One will represent the value, one will represent the suit, and that will match the prediction. So you've kind of set that challenge right at the very beginning. So now, as the spectator goes through the various different things that you're doing, it doesn't feel possible that you could be controlling anything, because at every point they're making all the decisions. They're shuffling. They're dealing from all over the deck. They're deciding which cards to eliminate. They're taking which packet they want. They're eliminating cards again. They're putting the cards together. You're not even touching the cards. And yet you're left with these 2 cards. And you even give them another choice then. Which one do you want to have represent the suit? Which one do you have represent the value? Are you sure? Yeah. Boom. Look at that card. Oh my gosh, it's a miracle. And it really is a miracle. I've actually performed this to magicians and they have no clue how it's done. It flies past them. And not that I really care that much about doing magician foolers, but if you're the sort of person that wants to fool magicians, this is a great routine to fool them with. It's got so many principles at play. It feels so fair. But at the end of the day, ultimately, it's a prediction. That's all it is. I've put a card over there. You're going to pick a card. It matches. You could get to this point very, very easily by just doing a card force. But this is what I like to think of as like challenge magic. Like you are literally telling them that they are going to match that prediction. You can have somebody put their hand on the prediction if you want to. You can kind of really go down the route of challenging them. But ultimately, they make all of the decisions. Do you feel like you had a free choice? Do you feel like I influenced you in any way? No. Boom. Look at that prediction. And you saw the reaction from Matt. I mean, he loved it, and he loved it for good reason. It's an incredible trick. So yeah, I mean, help me if you can. I have no idea where this trick's from. As I say, I thought it was easy to master card magic, but it's not. It's probably some really old book from hundreds of years ago that I'm just not aware of. But I love to, the opening sequence it feels a little bit like Shuffling Lesson by Chad Long, but it's not. I think it probably predates Shuffling Lesson. I don't know. Help me. Please help me. I want to know. So that's your second trick that I have no clue what the origin is. Let's go for trick number 3. So the final trick that we're going to talk about, the final trick that I have no idea where the origin is from, otherwise known as Craig's drunk card tricks. This one is kind of really interesting. Now, I showed this to somebody recently. I was talking to one of my gold members on that I mentor in the NETRIX, and we were talking about self-working card magic, and I actually performed this over Zoom to them, and they thought it was a quantum deck, but with printed cards, because of how free it feels. And this is really a strong trick. It's kind of an ACAAN, but not really. But what's really nice about this is it is self-working, just like the other 2 routines. It's self-working. It's very easy to do. And it uses a principle that you don't normally see used in this context. Normally, the principle at play, and in a minute you'll see it, and I think a few people will recognize the principle, Usually the principle that's being used in here is being used in like a completely different context in mentalism or somewhere like this, not used in the context of a card trick. So seeing it done in this context, it's kind of an educational thing in its own right, because it shows you that you can take common principles that are used in different ways in different routines and see how you can apply it to a completely different prop. Perfect example, and it's what I've done through my entire career when it comes to creating magic. But I'm not going to say any more about it. I'm going to give you a performance of it. So let's have a look at a performance of this routine, and we'll call it Easy ACAAN or something, because I haven't got a name for it. So we'll have a look at a performance, and then when I've performed it, we'll talk about why it's so good. Here with Matt. How you doing, Matt?
Hello.
We can do a card trick.
Oh, I gathered.
Yeah. It's going to be a very good card trick. You're going to like it. It's going to be an awesome card trick.
Okay.
Okay.
There's been some good ones lately.
You've been some good ones. This is like next level. So the first thing I want you to do, we're going to mix up the cards. They're all there. They're all different. That's important. But we're going to give them a bit of a shuffle, like that. Is that fair? Shuffle, yeah.
Yeah.
I want you to cut some cards onto the table. It's up to you where you cut, but cut some cards onto the table, and we're gonna mark the cut. Now here's the thing, Matt. Let me explain something here to you.
Mm-hmm.
If I asked you to think of a value in a deck of cards, so either ace, which is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, jack, which is 11, queen, which is 12, or king, which is 13, most people tend to go for the king or the ace. So they end up on value 1 or 13. And what I'm about to do for you right now, every time I've done it, people have said, oh, everyone names the same value. So we're going to randomize it, okay? So we're going to take the 4 cards here that you cut to, and these are going to be 4 random values. Okay.
Okay.
And what we're going to do with those 4 random values, in a minute you're going to look at them and you're going to pick one. And that's going to be completely random, because you could have cut to any cards. Nobody knows the values. We're not even going to look at them just now. Okay?
Okay.
Now you, my friend, are going to pick a card. So you can grab any card you want to. Have a look at the card. Remember it, don't forget it. And you can show the camera, just don't show me.
Got it.
Yep.
Now, this is all about choices. If you want to, you can put it back and get a different card. Or are you happy with that one?
Should we put it back and get a different card? Just to be an arse.
Go on,
Let's put it
then.
back and get a different
Okay,
card.
no problem, no problem, no problem. Grab a different one. And again, show it Jack. If you're happy with it, we can go for that one. If not, we can go for a different one.
We happy with that one?
I'd say so.
Yeah, let's be happy
Pass
with
it
it
here. I'm going to put it somewhere in the middle. I don't really want you to know where it is, but it's somewhere in the middle. And I'll just give the cards a couple of cuts, just to make sure you're not following it. So we have no idea where it is or what it is. Is that fair?
Yeah.
Cool. So, here we go. Nobody knows what those values are.
No.
We'll have a look at them. We got, that's interesting. We've got kind of almost like a run here. In fact, we have got a run. We've got a 6, a 7, an 8, and 9. Now, if you cut somewhere else, they would have been different values. But you've now got a choice of 4 values, and you can pick whichever one you want to. But I want you to think, before you make the decision, if you cut somewhere else, they would have been completely different values. And depending on where you cut, you might have had like hardly any options. It could have been like 3 6s or something. It's unlikely, but you never know. But as it happens here, we've got a 6, a 7, an 8, and 9. Which one would you like? Are you sure?
Yeah.
You can change your mind if you want to.
No.
You want the 8?
Yeah.
And it's a black 8. I said it's not about the suits. It's not about the suits, but it's interesting. It's a black 8. Now, you could have picked any one of the cards, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you picked the 8. There was a 6, a 7, an 8, and 9. Now, I don't want you thinking that there's an 8. It's a jack on top. That wasn't your card, was it?
No.
And the jack doesn't coincide with any of those cards. There's a jack on top. But you picked an 8, didn't you? And it's not just any 8, it's a black 8. And you picked any card, and we cut them. You saw me cut the cards, right? There's 2 interesting things about this. The first interesting thing is you picked a black 8, and after all of that cutting and mixing, there's a black 8 on the bottom of the deck, which is a bit of a coincidence when you think about this. Because, I mean, it wouldn't have worked with any other card. Like I said, it's a jack on top of the deck. You know, that doesn't even coincide with anything. So that's kind of a weird thing, first of all, isn't it? That like, you picked an 8 and there's an 8 on the bottom of the deck. But that's not the strange thing. The strange thing is that you could have picked anything, but you picked 8, yes?
Yeah.
I'm going to deal to the 8th card. Watch. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. That's the 8th card right there. and you didn't know, you picked a card, yeah, and put it back, picked a different one. We cut the cards. You had no idea where the card went, but you decided on an 8. I think that's an interesting coincidence as well.
What the hell?
No idea. So there you go. I mean, what I love about this particular routine is how fair it feels. And it really does feel very fair. You know, you've got the 4 cards that are put down to one side. It feels like they can pick any card. Then they do pick a card and it's lost in the pack. And then with no manipulation at all, when that deck's put down on the table after the finished cutting, with no manipulation at all, they can genuinely pick any one of those values and you're going to be correct, which is a really cool moment. And again, it's kind of a little bit of a challenge thing. You know, you can kind of say to them, now think about this. You could have picked any value out the deck. If you'd cut in a different place, it would have been a different value. You've now picked that value. You could have picked any one of those values. And if you'd had a different card, there might have been a different value. I mean, there's no way I could have known. And it feels like that's the correct statement. There's absolutely no way that you could have known what position they would name. And yet with no manipulation at all, you then show them that you were completely correct. I mean, it's a very strong moment when you think about it. It's a very, very strong moment. And out the 3 routines, this is the one that I perform the least. I don't really perform this in a gigging situation. This is one that I've performed to magic people down the pub, at conventions. This is one that I'll crack out. And also it's one that I'll do in a social situation or in my friend's house and they hand me a deck of cards. This is a nice one to go for. But yeah, I mean, it's a really fun idea. And I think the big thing, and again, hits all the bases in that it's self-working, it's easy to do, it's a regular deck of cards. There is a small setup, but that setup can be done in like literally 15 seconds on the fly. There's so much to love about this trick, but I think the thing that we take away from it, in my opinion, is taking classic principles that are used in other situations and how you can actually apply that principle to a completely different object. In this case, taking a mentalism principle and applying it to a card trick. I think that's a really interesting thing. So there you go, guys. That's another magic stuff in the bag. Another 3 best tricks in the bag. Please, 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 if you know where these tricks are from, let me know in the comments down below. I would love to know. Also, if you want to see more videos like this, like the video, subscribe to the channel, leave a comment down below. Please subscribe. It really helps the channel. I put a lot of time and effort in, and if you could subscribe, that would be amazing if you haven't already done so. And if you haven't already done so, please go check out the NETRIX. www.thenetrix.com. It's the thing that I'm most proud of, and as it continues to grow and it continues to get better, I get more and more proud of what we're accomplishing over there. So if you want to go check it out, please do so. I'm going to be back again soon with another video, but thank you so much for watching. My name's Craig from Magic TV.